In this demo, I'll define a simple inheritance hierarchy in the Library Manager app and experiment with some of the details related to calling constructors correctly. I'm going to start back in the classes.ts file and extend the reference item class I created in the last demo. I'll call the new class Encyclopedia and use the extends keyword followed by the name of the class it will extend. I'm just going to give the class one additional property for now named Addition. Before I can use the new class in other modules, I need to add it to the list of exports here at the bottom. I'll now open app.ts and add it to the list of imports from the classes module. Okay, I can now jump to the end of the file and start using it. I'm going to comment out this code from the last demo. I'll declare a new variable named refbook and set it equal to a new instance of the Encyclopedia class. Since it extends the reference item class, it has a method on it named printItem. I'll call it here so we can see some output. We can't run the code yet because I obviously have an error here. Supplied parameters do not match any signature of call target. All child classes must call their parent's constructor. Since I didn't explicitly specify a constructor on the Encyclopedia class, it's implicitly using the one defined on the parent reference item class. That constructor expects two parameters, title and year, which is what this error message is trying to tell me. I'll get rid of the error by passing what it expects. I can now run the code. As expected, it output the messages being logged inside the printItem method. Perhaps more interesting is the message that it's creating a new reference item. Remember that I added that log statement to the reference item constructor, so this is proof that it's being called even though it was the Encyclopedia subclass that I instantiated. I'll now go back to the Encyclopedia class and add a constructor to it. I want it to accept three parameters: a title, year, and edition. Since this subclass now has its own constructor, I must call the superclass's constructor inside it. The reference item constructor takes two parameters as we just saw, so I'll just pass along the title and year sent to the Encyclopedia constructor. Notice that I used the public keyword to treat addition as a parameter property, so I no longer need the declaration I added earlier. I'll go back to app.ts and I now have an error there because I'm not passing enough values to the new constructor. I'll add a third one to set the addition property to 10. Just to quickly show you that this object has all the properties and methods from its parent as well as its own, I'll just let the code completion show us the list. You can see the addition property specific to Encyclopedia as well as all the members on reference items. Okay, back in the classes file, I want to show you how we can override methods inherited from a parent class. If I wanted the printItem method to behave differently in the Encyclopedia class than it does when inherited from reference item, I can just redefine it in Encyclopedia to do whatever I want. In this case, I want it to do everything the version in reference item does, plus some extra stuff. I can call the reference item version by using the super keyword in front of the method name instead of the this keyword. This will instruct TypeScript to call the version of the function defined on the superclass. Once it's done executing, my additional log statement here will print out the addition. Unlike constructors, I'm not required to call the superclass's version of a method when I override it. I can comment out that line and everything's still fine. No red squigglies. However, I want it to call that method, so I'll leave it in there. I'll run it again and we can see the log statements output from the call to the superclass's printItem method, as well as the additional line I added to the subclass's version. I think it would be nice to print the year in parentheses after the addition, so I'm going to modify the log statement to include that. That's giving me an error, and if I hover over it, I'm reminded that year was declared as private inside the reference item class. To fix that, I'll scroll up to where year is defined on the reference item constructor. Private members are only available in the class in which they're declared. I'm going to change this from private to protected. Members declared with protected are also available in subclasses of the class in which they're declared. However, they're still not available publicly. I'll scroll down and we can see the error went away. I'll run the app one more time and we do now get the year in parentheses. Just to show you that year is still hidden from public view, I'll go back to app.ts and use code completion to show you the available members again. Year is still not available. It's only accessible inside reference item and encyclopedia. Now that you've seen how inheritance works in TypeScript, we're ready to talk about abstract classes.